it's kind of road to death. China is trying to occupy us.
嗰個言論自由已經慢慢逐漸收窄，我哋唔相信中國大陸嘅政制。
佢哋響佢口中嘅中國係一個好極權嘅國家。
Would it be exaggerating it to say that this situation is pulling families apart?
係啊，係直情係。
These are traumatic days for the people of Hong Kong. We've been seeing this for months. A row over a government bill, demands for greater democracy, allegations of police brutality. But speak to people here and they'll tell you this crisis goes so much deeper, and it's been decades in the making.
With respect, the UK already sold out Hong Kong to China in the 1980s.
After a century and a half of colonial rule, Britain agreed to hand Hong Kong back to China in 1997.
Now, Hong Kong people are to run Hong Kong.
我覺得開心嘅，因為我可以好同出邊人講我係中國人咯。This long.
Okay. When was the last time he was in here?
25 July.
Jenny was born here in Hong Kong, but she calls herself Chinese. Her sons are all involved in the protests. 2 of them won't speak to her anymore.
喺呢個運動之前，呢個反修例事件嘅之前咧，我哋好親密，我哋成個家庭，因為我返工每日我好準時收工就返嚟煮飯煲湯係好痛心咯。唔知啊，應該知嘅，應該知，因為佢都話，佢哋都希望呢件事快啲過，即係快啲完結。
Do you think the boys will be home for soup?
都有信心嘅。
So your soup is more powerful than politics?
I hope so.
When Britain handed Hong Kong back, China agreed that for 50 years, until 2047, life in Hong Kong would stay pretty much the same. The current social and economic systems of Hong Kong, the 2 sides agreed, will remain unchanged, and so will the lifestyle. For Hong Kongers, that meant keeping all the rights they enjoyed under British rule. But communist China was a very different place, so Beijing had a term for the new arrangement: 1 country, 2 systems. But how could that possibly last? Up close, Hong Kong is big, confident, impressive. But zoom out a little. Pretty soon the territory almost disappears, a tiny speck on the edge of a vast nation. So this is the border between Hong Kong here and just over the water, China. And that enormous city is Shenzhen. More than 13 million people live there. It's way bigger than Hong Kong. Standing here, you get an incredible sense of the power of modern China pressing in from the north. And it's not just power, it's people. Every day, 150 mainland citizens are allowed into Hong Kong on one-way tickets. That's more than 1 million new arrivals since 1997.
有啲住戶搬入嚟嘅，會見到一啲可能應該係新移民嘅家庭，或者係家庭入邊聽到佢哋講啲廣東話都唔係好純正嘅一啲家庭。
That's the dialect that most Hong Kongers speak. It's very different from the Mandarin spoken by most people on the mainland. But more and more schools here teach Mandarin, like Cyrus's, where some children cross over from the mainland every day.
其實我會覺得你係只係去將就一啲用普通話做母語嘅小朋友。呢啲提示你呢題有時可能喺學校同老師用普通話溝通，咁好明顯佢嗰個普通話絕對係唔會純正嘅，咁即係變相我會覺得好似兩頭唔到岸咁樣咯。
And how do you feel about the new arrivals?
咁亦都有部分其實 啲行為都令我哋有啲困擾嘅，例如咁佢哋就唔綁個膠袋，就咁抌喺個垃圾桶外邊咁咯。
Some of the things Hong Kongers say about mainlanders are troubling, even xenophobic. They've been called locusts. Ying has been here for 8 years.
即係佢落咗嚟咁多年都有嘅，都有歧視嘅情況嘅，因為係啊，我喺街市都有撞到即係歧視嗰啲情況啦。有時咧佢就話你啊，你個死人衰樣，佢冇錢買啊咁樣。針對大陸人嘅事，依家嘅示威，同埋都有話減150個名額嘅，即係嗰個單程證嘅名額。所以有時你即係我又聽到都係有啲驚嘅。
Hostility towards China has been building for years. Immigration and language play a part, but it's also because Hong Kongers feel China is trying to impose its will.
What China is doing, this is kind of imperialism. Whatever we want or not, we are now at the front line between the freedom world and the greatest dictatorship right now in the world.
In 2003, there were protests against legislation that would have threatened free speech. In 2012, it happened again when the government tried to change the school curriculum. In 2014, the issue was the way China wanted to influence Hong Kong's elections. And most recently, another controversy, a bill that would have allowed the extradition of criminal suspects to the mainland. Eventually, the government had to back down. But people fear that other things have been happening in secret. In 2015, China was accused of abducting 5 men from a bookshop where you could find scandalous accounts of life in communist China. So here it is, Causeway Books, and it's almost 4 years on, and it's still shut and firmly locked. And people have obviously been coming here leaving messages of support. Here's one that you can still read. It says, "Come back soon, we love you and your books." 20 years of almost constant friction with China have changed Hong Kong's identity. For a while, people increasingly thought of themselves as Chinese, but in the last 10 years, that's changed. And when you look at young people, it's really changed. The young protesters seem to think they've got nothing to lose, and faced with what they see as excessive brutality from the police, they're more and more ready to use violence themselves.
If China trying to get this place, you have to fight for it. Sure, there are some political problems, but I would say that protecting our culture is the most important thing for us.
What are you prepared to do to defend your culture?
I would say that violence is kind of a symbol to say that Hong Kong's people started to waking up. We are putting Hong Kong in a very dangerous place. The economy is going down, the tourism is really going down. A lot of restaurants or shops are really going down. It's kind of road to death. You have to be died to rebirth, right?
These students will be middle-aged when this 50-year handover finally ends. They'll probably be thinking about their own kids. Will they be on the barricades? Or will China have won this long, unequal battle for the heart and soul of Hong Kong? In the midst of this crisis, a powerful Hong Kong identity is being forged. Unless something really changes, that's going to be a problem for China for years to come.